It's the July 14th City Council meeting recap. At this meeting, Council got a slick update on Lansing Airport happenings, continuing brownfield development, plans on plans on plans. Some multi-property landlords were not in favor of proposed renter insurance ordinance changes. There was an intercouncil red tag fee quarrel and frustration over a police commissioner board reappointment. Welcome to What Lansing Council, a podcast transforming Monday night's Lansing City Council meetings into an enthralling recap. I'm your host, Jill Dombrowski, and today my very special guest is Jody Washington, former City Council member and current Charter Commission member and longtime community activist in Lansing. Thank you, Jody, for being here.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course. For additional introduction, could you please describe Lansing in your own words?
We are a city on the cusp, and what that means is we can move downward really quickly, or we can move upward very quickly. It will depend on the people and the mayor, whoever that shall be.
Yes, I hear that. And what is one of your favorite things about Lansing?
The people.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the people because we behave as though we're a small town, which we basically are.
Mm-hmm.
But we are beginning to, in the region, we can be considered a metropolitan area. So, but it's the people.
Yeah. They're doing the work out there.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, everybody in Lansing. And what is something that you'd love to see change in Lansing?
The current makeup of, frankly, the council and the administration. We are in some pretty bad times.
And we've got an opportunity to see change with our upcoming election.
Yes.
So we'll see what comes out of that. And for those of you who are still undecided about your vote, I have put together an episode with a lot of the voices of the folks running for mayor, for council. You can find that a few episodes back on What Lansing Council. So, Jody, you are on the Charter Commission.
Yes.
And you were voted on. The Charter Commission has been doing its thing for this past year, and the changes that the commission has recommended have gone to the state for review, and then they will be on our November ballot. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. How are you feeling?
Okay. For legal purposes,
Yes.
I am only speaking as myself.
Okay.
I am not speaking for the Charter Commission.
Got it.
I'm not representing the Charter Commission. I'm representing me.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I voted no to pass these charter revisions forward.
Mm-hmm.
I was horrified at the process.
Mm-hmm.
We spent the first 6 months having the charter read to us. I'm sorry, if you ran for the charter, you darn well should have known what was in that charter.
Yeah.
Then we never had a committee. We never had anything. All we ever had was Brian Jeffries, Lori Adams Simons, and Chris Swope would meet before the Charter Commission meetings.
Okay.
And they would decide what was on the agenda, and basically they decided what changes would be made, in my opinion.
Oh.
And so the rest of the commission really never had much impact. Oh, and Chris Swope, for whatever reason, was always in those meetings. He wasn't elected to the Charter Commission. He wasn't taking minutes. Emery took the minutes.
Okay.
So I never could figure that one out, how
Okay.
he got to be a voice on the Charter Commission. But it was just, in my opinion, kind of not how I expected the process to go, certainly not how I would have appreciated the process to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty much whatever that group came out with is what we passed.
Okay.
And we didn't pass anything that the people asked for.
Wow.
We didn't go to a city manager, which I actually voted to keep a strong mayor because I believe in separation of levels.
Okay.
I believe in checks and balances.
Sure.
However, had I known that this commission basically viewed the mayor as a king, I absolutely would have voted for a city manager.
Yeah.
People asked basically that we do away with the at-large council members. But because we had two people on there that used to be at large and thought they did a bang-up job, couldn't grasp that concept.
Uh-huh.
So we ended up with all the same amount
Yeah.
of at-large
Yeah.
and only one more ward. Really
Right.
what we need are more wards
Mm-hmm.
so everybody has a voice at the table.
Right.
You don't have that with at-large members.
Right.
You don't have it. When I was on council at one point, the mayor, the city clerk, and half of the council came from Ward 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem.
That's a big imbalance.
That's imbalance.
Yep.
And it will continue to be.
Yeah.
So we gain nothing there. I wanted to elect the city attorney because there have been so many problems, and the city attorney basically reports to the mayor.
Yeah.
But one change they made is either the mayor or council can fire the city attorney. Yeah, let's watch that play out. I'm like, oh, get real.
Yeah.
And so, and the other big thing they were so proud of was that they took the internal auditor out from under council and have made it an independent department. So now it's under nobody.
Oh.
So this internal auditor won't answer to the people because it's not elected, and they
Okay.
don't answer to anybody. The mayor and the council are supposed to hire the internal auditor,
Okay.
and then either one of them can fire them. Again, let's watch that play out.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. Oh, and one other thing that changed is we will be voting for all council and mayor at the same year.
Okay.
So every 4 years. So in 2 years, the people that are up for election will have to run.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2029, we're going to start electing everybody at one time.
Okay.
So those folks will have to run again
Yeah.
in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, and other than that, I tried to get it so that the general manager of the Board of Water and Light would have to meet with the public, the stakeholders, every 3 months, once
Okay.
a quarter.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's too important. We had to say, or his designee. Kind of defeats the purpose of what I was trying to get. And
Yeah.
everything I suggested got shut down because I wasn't one of the group, which is fine. I don't want to be part of that group. I am A-okay. We talked about dissenting voices last night.
Yeah.
And, and I was absolutely a dissenting voice because I was speaking about what the people wanted.
Yeah.
And the board appointments were a huge thing for me, too. And I talked about that last night at council.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for serving on the commission
you.
and giving it a shot. And yeah, we'll see what happens next, I guess. So we were at the July 14th Lansing City Council meeting last night, and all councilors were present at the meeting. And I'll just run through who those are again. We've got Ryan Cost, our president, representing the 1st Ward, Jeremy Garza of the 2nd Ward, Adam Hussein of the 3rd Ward, Brian T. Jackson of the 4th Ward. Our current at-large members are Jeffrey Brown, Tamara Carter, Vice President, Trini Pelivanoglu, and Peter Spatafor. For the Committee of the Whole meeting, also present were the Recording Secretary Sherry Boak and City Attorney Greg Venker.
Right.
So, in the Committee of the Whole, not a bunch going on. There was a long presentation by President and CEO of the Lansing Airport, Nicole Noel Williams. She looked like a person you would see at an airport. Out of all the people who are present at the meeting, she had the big black sunglasses on her head, silver hoop earrings, a 2-piece indigo suit, and tan heels. So the airport update is, it's going great. Here are some things I learned about the airport. It sits at the intersection of Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham counties. The airport actually owns property in all of those counties, so that's interesting. 700 people work at the airport. They are really courting UPS to do more tonnage of cargo out of the airport. That's one of their goals, is to increase cargo tonnage coming and going. I'm not really sure how this super helps us out, but that's a goal. So they also own a small aircraft airport in Mason, the Jewett Field Airport, and Lansing Community College, LCC, runs an aviation mechanics degree program here, which is ranked in one of the top 10 out of 214 programs in the nation. Good job, LCC. You can get direct flights to Detroit on Delta, Chicago and DC on American, to Orlando, Fort Myers, and Tampa, Florida on Breeze Airline, and Cancun or Los Cabos, Mexico, or Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic through Apple Vacations. How many times have you flown from the Lansing airport?
Many times.
All right.
Many times.
Mm-hmm.
And the airlines that you can fly from one place to the other are kind of scary. It's like riding in a tin can.
Sure.
And the direct flight from Lansing.
Some might say adventurous.
yes. But I travel a lot.
Okay.
A lot internationally. And so I try to get my flights out of Lansing because when I've been on a flight for several hours, I just want to be home.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in Detroit. And I've taken the nonstop from Lansing to Cancun several times. I will never do it again.
Oh, okay.
The last one was a really bad experience. And in fact, one of the flight attendants, we asked for water and he said, "What, you think you're on Delta?" I was
Whoa, rude.
Yeah. And it was not a good aircraft. It was, like I said, a tin can. As far as your flight from Lansing to Detroit, you can drive it in very short order. So I don't see that as a great advantage.
Yeah.
I think, great about the cargo, but I would like to see something put into our airport for passenger travel. We are the capital city. Mm-hmm. We're the seat of government. We have 2 major hospitals. We have the university. And we just can't get it. And they'll say, oh, Grand Rapids or Detroit. I will fly out of Lansing every single time I have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. I will pay a little bit more because Michigan Flyer is even getting expensive to get back and forth. Sure. And then there's that lag. Yeah. I would really like to see our airport done better. And I would like Lansing to improve the area around the airport, to have executives get off the plane and go on to our roads, and that area surrounding, which is pretty depressed, is almost an embarrassment.
And President Koss did say that after the presentation, he was saying that corridor right along there, it's looking pretty sad. Any plans for this? And the president, she did say, we are trying to buy those properties, but the owners are not being super cooperative with us, so it's not really working out. Next, Raleigh Van Fossen, the Director of Economic Planning and Development in the city, gave a quick update on some federal funding. Lansing is receiving a bit less than they were anticipating for some community development grants they've gotten in previous years, so about 2.6% less. Not a huge impact, but still not great.
Yeah. I don't think we should be depending on all those things anyway, so... I'm okay with that.
All right. That was the end of the Committee of the Whole. There was a break. The mayor arrives, as well as Clerk Chris Swope and Deputy Clerk Brian P. Jackson and a clerk intern. The best dressed at the meetings goes to Swope.
Always. Always.
He had an amazing garden party attire, a crisp vintage summer plaid suit jacket with warm peach collared shirt underneath.
That's Chris.
Looking good. At the last meeting, we had 2 brownfield plan redevelopment presentations. One by South Lansing developer duo Novi. They're looking to redevelop at Miller and South Washington Avenue south of the Atwood Elementary. And the other one by established developer Pat Gillespie on East Michigan Avenue across from the Lugnut Stadium, just east of the Lugnut Stadium. These 2 properties had public hearings at this meeting. One community member said, "No thanks on these. Developers are lining their pockets at the expense of taxpayers with these brownfield redevelopments." Another community member said that they were thrilled with the Pat Gillespie proposed project. And Pat Gillespie himself got up and said, "Thanks, and let me know if you have any more questions."
Jill, I just really want to quickly say most people don't understand what a brownfield is. We are an old manufacturing city. Mm-hmm. Our land is totally contaminated, And really, it is the job of the city to go through and clean up all that property before somebody develops, but we can't afford to do it. Mm-hmm. So what the brownfield is the developer, I'll say Pat Gillespie, will go in and clean it up so that he can build on it and not kill his people, with the filth underneath. Yeah. And then the tax, what they get by the taxes is what they have spent on cleaning up the property.
Which should have been the city's job.
We should have done it. Yeah. And I don't think people understand what a brownfield is. That's why they develop so much in the outlying areas, is because those are green fields.
They're easier to
development ready.
Yeah.
Our land isn't. So I have always been incredibly supportive of a brownfield. And yes, I'm thrilled about the Gillespie property. It will take those 6 buildings and put them back on the tax rolls. It will provide more housing downtown.
Yeah.
It'll provide more retail. We need retail downtown.
Yeah.
We're building hundreds of units downtown. We need to have a reason for people to move down there. If we give people a reason to come, they'll come.
Yeah.
But right now, we don't have it. So I'm very happy about his project. And the Novi project, they're doing that under the program. I think Sarah Anthony did it, Senator Anthony. I could be wrong, but the new developer thing is untraditional developers. That's what it is.
Okay.
But it's for minorities where they can go in and get some help with their capital and stuff like that. And the project that this couple is talking about is a really good project. I don't know that they'll be able to sustain a restaurant there, but the rest of it is really great.
Yeah.
So I'm really supportive of both.
Yeah, changes are happening.
Yes.
So that was good to see. And there was yet another brownfield plan that was put forward, a newish one. So this property at Holmes and Pleasant Grove, they presented a brownfield plan before. They didn't say when, but they're presenting it again. So I guess they got some better plans together and they're giving it another shot. This property is Holmes in Pleasant Grove in southwest Lansing, just west of the Southside Community Coalition and Beacon Park. And the developer is Brett Forsberg. He's currently developing in Eaton Rapids, Okemos, DeWitt. So he's in the area. He's been doing work for a while. He's proposing a 30-unit all workforce housing space, as well as commercial properties in the downstairs and then the living spaces up above. Something a little different about this, he's doing it with a partnership with a group called the National Coalition for Community Capital, NC3. And they gave a presentation, and it sounds like they do community investment funding. And they had a great presentation about what that means, how great that is. But what they didn't say is how it's going to work for this particular project. So have they raised money yet? How many investors do they have? No. Okay.
So what that is, it's really a cool idea, is Brent Forsberg, the developer, will have some of his money. There'll be money from, I'm sure, financial institutions, but there'll also be a chunk of money from people that actually live in the community. And you could invest as little as $50. I could invest as much as $10,000.
Oh, wow.
And it's, or more, however much I wanted to.
No cap probably.
Right, exactly. But people will actually make money off their investment. They don't have all the details worked out yet, but they will be coming out shortly. I think it's a great idea, particularly, maybe some citizens right here would like to make some money off these developments.
Sure.
Why not?
And why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea. The project is a really good project. Workforce housing is not the same as affordable or low income.
Right.
It goes up to 120% of the AMI, and that's county-wide.
Chris Klein of the Lansing Economic Development Corporation was also there and endorsing this plan and talking about how...
he's the new director of the LEDC.
I did just see that.
Great choice. He's going to do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Really good choice.
Good. Adam Hussein talked about how, new topic. Adam Hussein talked about how he was so happy to have the new outdoor fitness pad at Benjamin Davis Park in his ward, that's Southwest Lansing. He was really channeling his inner Glinda, saying, we couldn't be happier in Southwest Lansing. So much is happening for us.
Yeah, he is a huge advocate for the Southwest side. They have the new track and everything. He and Senator Anthony really pushed and advocated for that. So there's wonderful plaques honoring both of them at that track.
Where is that?
It's behind the Alfreda Schmidt Community Center.
Okay.
If you're going down Pleasant Grove, you'll see it on the right. And it's a beautiful track. It really is.
Next, the mayor discussed the events that he attended or did not attend over the weekend. He did not go to Comic-Con, but he did go to Scrap Fest.
Who cares? That's all I have to say about that. Who cares?
Okay, then Brian T. Jackson brought up some touchy politics. So, Farhan Omar is the current First Ward representative on the Board of Police Commissioners. His term expired in June, and the mayor does not want him reappointed. This is my understanding.
Correct.
The mayor says he lied, and it sounds like the lie in question is that Farhan said in some Facebook post, crime is not down in Lansing.
Correct.
So Brian T. Jackson is recapping this. He says a letter was written by the police labor union saying that they don't like Farhan Omar. And Jackson is like, we need dissenting voices. We need people who don't share the views of everyone else on the council. I don't think we should be voting in a new board member here just because one letter was written and Shore doesn't like him. Throughout this, Garza is really giving Jackson a confused death stare. So Shore jumps in and he's defending himself. I'm all for dissent, but not for misleading and misinformation spreading. And I think you'll really love this member of the Latino community who I have put up as Farhan's replacement. Koss gives additional context, not in the meeting, but to us afterwards. He says there were 4 other folks who had applied to be on the Ward 1 representative for this commission who Shore passed over and just cherry-picked this new person. One public commenter says, Jackson, thanks for bringing this up. The mayor... Your behavior is disappointing. Farhan Omar represents the Muslim and refugee communities on the charter. I tried to revise the charter to make the board appointees up to the council members, but this did not work out.
Correct. Yes. And the reason I tried to get it changed is because mayors typically use these board appointments for political favors. Right now, he wants to win over the Latino community. Mm-hmm. So he's wanting to appoint a Latino. I don't see what that has to do with anything. In fact, Florencio Hernandez is a friend of mine, and I have the utmost respect for him. I really do. Had the circumstances been different, I would support it, but I can't support it with the reasoning behind it. Mm-hmm. When President Koss first tried to advocate for Farhan to be on the commission, the mayor had a different Latino in mind that he wanted appointed, and he does not like Farhan because Farhan, like me, will be a dissenting voice. Mm-hmm. We are deeply entrenched with the people. Mm-hmm. We have to admit the people, for the most part, are not happy right now. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't speak out much because they're so busy trying to make a living and just survive in their dilapidated houses. Mm-hmm. You know, it's frustrating. Yes. I've been there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do not find what Farhan said was, you know, the mayor, crime's going down. He goes by gun violence. I have been the victim of violence. My mother has been, my son has been, many of my dear friends have been, and a gun was never involved. We can't just look at gun violence.
Yes.
People are being killed.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's not reported. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is an ex-boyfriend trying to kill you, or somebody that has a spat with you, or a husband, or 2 women. Yeah. It never gets reported. Yeah. And it's not on... A felonious assault is violent crime.
Yes.
And I'm tired of only looking at the gun crime. Mm-hmm. Let's look at all the crime. And for Farhan to say, I don't think it's going down. I know many families that are affected. We all know many families.
Yes.
And that's not an egregious statement.
No.
And for the mayor to use that, in my opinion, is disgusting. Mm-hmm. It's my understanding that the mayor went to the police union and asked for a letter.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
not
great.
And that's dirty. And that is why I said I don't appreciate dishonesty from any official, including you.
Yeah.
And I'm angry about
it. I see that, and I think for good reason. Next, Clerk Swope said there are 3 days of early voting at the Rio Clerk's office. You can vote on the day of the primary, which is August 5th. Also is the Parks Millage. They've sent out 20,000 ballots to Lansing residents, and so far 20% of those have been returned. So thanks to those who have voted already. And you still have lots of opportunities to get your vote in there. So then there was a public hearing for the proposed rental insurance ordinance changes. So I'm going to just briefly summarize this again. And my understanding is that with this change, the city will be able to recoup some costs that they incur when renters are kicked out of their dwellings due to emergency situations. The city will put people up during repairs to their buildings so that they're not just have nowhere to live when something bad happens in where they're living. So 3 real estate folks came up. These are landlords of multiple properties, and they're basically saying, like, thanks for trying to help protect the renters, but we don't like this. We think that it punishes good landlords and bad landlords. This will drive the rent up. There needs to be more clear language in this change that if tenants themselves are the cause of the emergency situation, then the landlord shouldn't have to pay to put them up to cover the costs. Insurance, and then they're saying some more stuff about insurance. So the insurance doesn't cover these problems that you're hoping to solve, and that's like deferred maintenance, which causes a problem. Like the insurance isn't going to cover that. So that's like, this isn't doing what you think it's going to do, I think was like the summary of their comments. One commenter said, landlords lie and they need to be regulated.
I almost choked.
Just straight out with that.
We have many, many good landlords, and we have many bad ones. Mm-hmm. I think the problem with this is, first, I kind of have a problem with 2 of the council members up there being landlords, and they're voting on things like this.
They should recuse themselves, maybe?
I really believe they should recuse themselves with anything to do with landlord, tenant, anything, because they personally profit from their rental properties.
Sure.
Now, the city attorney apparently has said it's not a conflict. Well, it certainly has the appearance of a conflict.
Yeah.
If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quack, whatever, it's a duck.
Like if this isn't it one, like what is?
Thank you, because they personally profit.
Yeah.
And I think those 2 should absolutely recuse themselves from anything to do with landlords, rentals, anything.
Okay.
And I think it would be ethical of them to do that. Mm-hmm. But having said that, I really see both sides. I think there is a lot of tenant damage. I've seen it over and over and over. But I've also seen where it's just absolute neglect of, like the Lansing Housing Commission, their 200 and some single sites where I saw mushrooms growing around toilets and molds all over everything.
That's terrible, yeah.
It's horrible. And we keep giving them money to build more buildings. And I'm like, Andy, you've lost your mind. Don't allow them to do anything. Mm-hmm. But that's neither here nor there. He told me he's always going to approve those projects.
Interesting.
So his mouth to my ears.
Yeah.
So, and he's the mayor. So, but I get it. Right now, even the council said they don't think there's such an insurance. So how can you require people to get something that doesn't exist?
Yeah.
But if it's their fault, I think they should be held responsible for getting the people in these places. You know, I can see it both ways. Yeah. It will raise the rents. If they have to pay that insurance, they're going to raise their rents.
Sure.
You know, so I don't know. I'm really kind of torn on that one.
I feel like this is a circumstance where, like, what are other municipalities doing?
Yes.
Like, surely we cannot be the only city who has these problems.
Right.
Like, there's got to be some other ordinances we can just look at, see if they're working, and, like, follow those.
Correct. And I think sometimes that's what some council members do, is they're so quick to want to have their name on something or look like they're doing something that they really don't do their research. I think to do a really good ordinance takes months. And it's like you said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, and if we do, we do, but let's research it.
Yeah. Up next was a red tag property fee dispute, and this was a tricky one. So my understanding of this is the Eastside Community Action Group, this is a nonprofit group within Lansing. They bought a property from the land bank, which owns a lot of properties within Lansing that are not great properties. They'll buy them up and, you know, hold on to them or help them out. So two like nonprofit entities who are trying to do a good job in Lansing. So the Eastside Community Action Group bought this property from the land bank, but in 2022, and they bought it in November 2024. And then So back like 2 years prior, the dwelling was red tagged, and the city attorney described this process. Once a dwelling is red tagged, the owner gets 90 days before monthly monitoring fees start to incur. And these are fees from the city. So the property is red tagged in 2022. They get 90 days to like fix it up. They don't. The red tag fees start accruing. The land bank bought it at some point. And when that happens, there's a 2-month pause on the red tag fees because land bank and that's specific to land bank. So they get like a little exemption, but then the fees continue because it's like, this is still a problem for our city, like whether or not land bank owns it or not. So fees continue to accumulate. So then the Eastside Community Action Group bought it, and they didn't see that it was red tagged, and they didn't see when they looked that there were like these fees associated and that they were accumulating. So once all the paperwork went through, they get this bill for $600 in fees for the red tag property. And they're like, hey, can we not pay this? We didn't know. We don't want to pay this. And there's a member from the East Side Community Action Group there talking about this, like explaining it. And then the committee members talk about it. So Councilmember Brown's the chair of the Operations Committee. And he said that the committee, when they were going through this, we like the Eastside Community Action Group. We give them, the city give them money to rehab properties. It seems dumb that we would collect this fee from them that's basically our own money back, like to pay these fees. And Spatafor is like, oh, this sets a precedent. Everybody needs to follow the rules. And Costa's like, I agree. And Jackson is like, nothing that we are doing here sets a precedent. We are here to evaluate things on a case-by-case basis. Council members Hussein and Pelivanoglu are just trying to understand like what is actually happening. They're asking follow-up questions to Brown, and Brown is like, I don't recall. He's like, can't provide additional details. So the mayor jumps in. Mayor says, my office did everything right. It was on the website. They should have checked the website. And Councilmember Brown is like, this system is broken. We shouldn't be punishing them. And Councilmember Cost is getting pretty annoyed with Brown and says, hey, guy, this system that you're talking about is the city ordinance code that you as a council member have direct control over. If you think it is broken, then you have the power to fix it. Brown is like, okay.
Yes.
Then 5-3. They vote to make the Eastside Community Action Group pay the $600 in red tag fees. Voting against it are Brown, Carter, and Jackson.
I would have voted with Brown, Carter, and Jackson.
And why is that?
Well, part of it is because I'm not sure I could be unbiased. The Eastside Action Community Center actually has the only housing for financially distressed people that makes sense. They buy these houses from the land bank that are going to be demolished, okay? Mm-hmm. They rehab them. They take families, and it's typically a single mother with children. And they have a 2-year program. And in that 2-year program, they give financial training. They give how to take care of a house training. They give them job training. Everything, parenting, everything. Within that 2 years, and many of them pass the program, they are mortgage ready. They are mortgage ready. They set money aside from the rent for them to have down payment. So they have actually scaffolded them from not being eligible and really not knowing what they're doing to being a responsible homeowner that is mortgage ready.
Wow.
This is a phenomenal program. It's the only one in the city and the only one that makes sense. Throwing them from a tent to an apartment and calling it good is not a good idea. Mm-hmm. But this is phenomenal. So because of that, and I've watched this group do this for years, at the end of that 2 years, they build them a new house in the same neighborhood.
Amazing.
So they're stabilizing the neighborhood. They're keeping the people in their home.
Yeah.
It's the only one that makes sense. And I would have absolutely voted with the 3 just on principle. Mm-hmm. And it should be a case by case. My other issue is, yes, Jeff Brown is not only a council member, he's the chair of that committee. Mm-hmm. He should have been doing something. For him to simply say, oh, I am. No, you're not. No, you're not. Come on, stop.
Yeah.
So and Peter Spatafor, he's a policy guy. That's probably what makes him a good policy person. I can't see him as an administrator over the city, but he's good at policy. I'm giving him that, and he's right. But we also have to consider humanity.
Yeah.
We do. And I'm just not that person that's going to be that person.
So sticklering.
Yeah. So I think, yes, changes need to be made. Yes, you need to take it on a case-by-case basis until you have it clarified. And I think there should be some exceptions for places that have been proven to be really good. And, why isn't the person that got it in that deplorable condition still responsible for those red tag fees?
Absolutely.
So that's my take. And
yeah.
I see both sides. I really do.
Yeah. Good issue. Good discussion. Okay. Next, the Sustainability Commission, and that's like a board group within the city appointed by mayor, is urging council to write a letter to state legislators asking the state legislators to pass an extended producer responsibility policy. And here they're talking about producers being companies that produce things like anything, washing machines, like packaging, whatever. And the responsibility part of it is for those producers to deal with the end of life of these products in a more responsible way. So if you're producing washing machines, you should help pay into some sort of fund that covers the cost of disposing or recycling the washing machines when folks are no longer using them. So basically clean up the waste you create. Jackson introduces this action, and he says 7 other states currently have this language on the books. In the long run, this would help the city out fiscally with our monies. We would get some trash and recycling fees from this. A member of the Sustainability Commission is there to give a public comment about it. Let us know if you have any questions. Everyone is happy. Passes unanimously. Then Jeremy Garza has an ordinance change he is introducing, and this is to clarify the process of construction bidding for city projects. He wants to clearly define responsive and responsible bids. So he wants to have quality work on time and on budget. He doesn't want to just have to go with the cheapest bid, which makes sense to me. This will protect the integrity of the procurement process, reduce the risk to project failure, and ensure money spent on public projects are kept circulated here in our community. Everyone's fine with this. That goes on to the next step, which is a public hearing, which will be at the next council meeting. Public comment. There's a few public comments at the end. One person is living by a welding business that has recently changed hands, and there's absolutely terrible noise that is diminishing his quality of life. Please help. Next, somebody asked council for funding for a powwow event and also to change the firework laws to ban civilian use of fireworks within the city. It's causing harm to folks, PTSD, dogs. A council hopeful there is offering solutions. He says we need more bike lanes and we need to reduce the drag racing on our trunk lines. He says MDOT should just put some bike lanes on these Pennsylvania, Cedar, MLK roads. That would be great. And just for my own additional comment here, MDOT has done that on a western section of Saginaw, and great, like it can be done. They have done it. So let's keep going with that. And final comment, the final comment was a member of the public who said, Brett Brackschmidt, a mayor hopeful, called me names on Facebook. I do not like Mayor Shore, and I also do not like Brackschmidt.
Well, Brackschmidt called me a couple names on Facebook, too. So, and I did read the Facebook page. Inappropriate, but okay, I don't know what he thinks anybody's going to do about it. I do want to say about the responsible bidding ordinance, that is something we put in the charter. So it will, if this charter passes, that will already be in there. I think it makes sense. You don't just go with the lowest bidder. It makes sense.
Yeah. The next meeting will be in 2 weeks on July 28th.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you for putting
For
up
being
with
here.
my passion.
I love it. Thank you for all you do for the city. Thank you to the Public Media Center for letting us record with you. Thank you all for listening. And I have a Patreon page set up. So if you love this podcast and you want to check out my Patreon, I would love that. That would be you giving me some money. And also with becoming a Patreon, you will get some extra perks, which I haven't quite figured out yet. But here's my 3 ideas. A map of all the things that were brought up at council.
Nice.
So you could get a spatial understanding of what's being talked about, where stuff is at.
Right.
The other idea would be a political cartoon of the meeting, hand drawn by me.
Nice.
And then the third idea I have is additional content with the guests. So it would be a mini video. You could see our beautiful faces.
Yes.
So those are my ideas. If you think that sounds good and you would like that, then do the Patreon, please. Thank you and
Thank
goodbye.
you.